Good morning. It is Bible study time, and hope y'all are doing well. Just got some word of some things in our church. Gary Yarbrough is in the hospital. Romy Keith has the coronavirus. Bill Haskins passed away yesterday morning. Let's see, Jack and Flo. Jack had his booster shot yesterday, and he's not feeling well today. Flo's had bronchitis, and is going to have a scope on Tuesday. So just some things I want you to be in prayer for those people, and there's always something going on. That's for sure. Life is not boring, but there's always time for us to give thanks, and that's what our lesson is about today. We are going to move from our unit that we've been doing since it is Thanksgiving, and we're going to step aside between lesson 5 and lesson 6. By the way, you didn't get lesson 5 last week because we were in Tulsa, and so maybe I'll make that up. It was a really good lesson. Matter of fact, it's the one that we probably need to hear the most about Abraham and Hagar and Ishmael and Sarah and Isaac. Anyway, but we're going to move on today, and so it's Thanksgiving, and there's always time to give thanks for the God who takes care of us and who loves us. Thanksgiving isn't just a Christian holiday; it is a world holiday. It's a everyone holiday. It's universal because anyone, churched or unchurched, can give thanks, can offer gratitude. We all have so many things to be thankful for. We have already received more than we deserve, and so we are blessed beyond measure because of it. We hear people say, though, that I'm thankful that something happened, or I'm thankful this took place, or I'm thankful that took place. We really need to get to the root, though, and we need to say, I'm thankful that God allowed this to happen, or I'm thankful that God caused this to be. I'm thankful that God had made the difference in this situation, and because of that, I'm blessed. So ultimately, our thanks belongs to God. So today, where else would we go? The perhaps greatest psalm that talks about Thanksgiving, Psalm 100, and a short psalm, 5 verses, as you probably well know, but yet it says so much about our gratitude and how we really need to be thankful to God. So it doesn't attribute it in most things, that attribute it as a Psalm of David, but because of the character and the nature of it, many scholars will say they would believe or wouldn't have a problem believing that David wrote Psalm 100, even though there's no way for us to be certain. But it is a psalm of thanksgiving, it says. And so we can assume if David wrote it, maybe the historical context was shortly after they moved the ark to Jerusalem, and David set up his capital in Jerusalem. He knew that he wasn't going to be able to build the temple, but when they got the ark there in the tabernacle and they were able to worship God, it was a celebration. It was a joyful time, and they were truly thankful to God. And so there it was in their capital city. The ark was there, the Ark of the Covenant, and which represented God's glory, God's Shekinah glory, and so David, we could say in this psalm, was calling all who trusted in Yahweh to come and to enter His gates and His courts with thanksgiving and praise, and to be able to offer up to God and God alone that which is due unto Him. So let's begin. Psalm 100, verse 1 and verse 2 says, "Let the whole earth shout triumphantly to the Lord. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before Him with joyful songs." In this passage, there are 7 commands. The Hebrews would say 6, yea, 7. Just to show the progression of numbers and the sign of perfection. Now, you might say in one place that, is that an 8th command? But no, I think the psalmist is insinuating the same command as before. And so we'll talk about that in a minute if we get to it. So first of all, what are we commanded to do? We're commanded to serve the Lord with gladness, and that is a really good beginning point. So the psalmist begins with, let the whole earth shout. We're to shout triumphantly. That's the first emphasis, or the first command out of this. And there's at least some say a missionary emphasis in this, that when we shout, what are we doing? We're telling the whole world, aren't we, that we're going to shout triumphantly to the Lord. We're telling the world that we believe that God is God, that there is no other God besides Him, and that we are offering up our praise unto Him simply because we are shouting triumphantly unto Him. We shout and we give Him thanks and praise giving. Uh, Thanksgiving and praise. Ugh, get my tongue tied there. And we also recognize His lordship. So that is really an imperative out of this, that we're to shout triumphantly. And then the psalmist said, "Serve the Lord with gladness." That's a command word, isn't it? Serve the Lord with gladness. We serve God not because we have to, but because we get to. We serve God because He has done so much for us. We want to do so much for Him. Everything that we can, every breath that we have. When we truly love Him and we understand how big and how vast and how unmeasurable His love and grace is to us, how much we have truly been forgiven, then we want to serve Him with gladness. And so I hope you have a glad attitude in your heart today. And then the psalmist said, "Come before Him with joyful songs." And to come, that means that we need to get in God's presence. That means that we need to not just come to church or not just come to Bible study, but we need to get in God's presence. God does so much around us, but what He really wants to do is in us. And so we need to get in His presence. And one way to do that is by singing joyful songs. Romy Keith, as I said, has the coronavirus. And so we used to always have one or two backup worship leaders, and everything was good here, and never had to worry about musicians, never had to worry about leaders, never had to worry about that kind of stuff. Well, all those folks have gone to be with the Lord, and so we don't have that. As a matter of fact, I was thinking this morning, Bill Haskins in our church passed away this morning or yesterday morning, and we knew that it was coming for Bill. He's lived a good long life, but years and years and years ago, long before my time, Bill led the worship here at Calvary Baptist Church. He led the choir. He did that kind of thing. And matter of fact, when I came, he and Juanita played organ music together. They played specials. But then Bill's eyesight got bad and he couldn't read the notes. And so they didn't do that anymore, but they used to play quite a bit. Sometimes they took turns playing the organ on Sunday night when we had Sunday night worship. So, there's something about music. There's something about that brings joy to our hearts and to our lives. It gives us the opportunity to come before His presence with singing and get in the presence of God. That's why we sing in worship. That's why we allow music to speak to us, because music is really the communicator to our soul. And so the psalmist said, "Serve the Lord with gladness, come before Him with joyful songs," and then you will truly be able to shout triumphantly unto the Lord. It's an invitation to the whole world, isn't it? That the whole world would do that. The goal of God is not just to call out His people, to have interaction with them. The goal of the Lord is to redeem the whole world, that the whole world would know and would be involved in the worship of our God. And so let the whole earth, it says, shout triumphantly to the Lord. How will we do that? Serving Him gladly and singing and getting in His presence in our lives. Our relationship with God should cause us to be joyful. And I don't know about you, but I think